Hi everybody, Bob Long, LADC here in this great state of Oklahoma. Nice to see you. It's been a while since I've done a video, so no, I didn't die. Didn't fall off the face of the earth. Going to be talking a little bit today about substance abuse and the disease that it has. I'll be showing you some SPECT scans of alcoholics, marijuana users, some methamphetamine users, heroin users, things like that. A lot of people say, I don't know, I don't think it's a disease. Fine, if you personally don't feel like it's a disease, you feel like it's more of a bad habit that you got into, I will accept that. That's not a problem. But when we talk about diseases in general, we want to see symptoms. Okay, so I had COVID a while back. What are some of the symptoms of COVID? High fever. For me, it was 102. After 10 days of running 102 fever, I didn't care if I lived or died, okay? Another one for a lot of people is a rapid heart rate. Another symptom of COVID, for at least me, my alveoli got messed up, which that's in the lungs, and it takes the oxygen out of the air, puts it in the bloodstream, takes it to all the organs in the body, to include the brain first. And my oxygen sats were 90, 89, 87, 86, pretty low. I was on oxygen for a while. My coworkers saw me up here with an oxygen concentrator running in the background. That's the air conditioner you hear right now. But my lungs healed. The beautiful part is our bodies heal, to include the brain. So we're going to talk today about some of those symptoms that we see as substance abuse counselors, or maybe you see it in your loved ones. If you have adult children who are using substances and you don't understand that, why they act the way they do. We know there's consequences to these actions. Consequences, we'll get into that a little bit later, but some of the symptoms that I see most often of a diseased brain include moodiness, apathy, depression, anxiety, sleep disorders, anger issues, poor decision making, isolation, acting out behaviors, manipulation, inability to prioritize, overwhelming feelings of guilt and shame, inability to focus or concentrate, memory issues, forgetfulness, which can lead to dementia, and the consequences. And that's not all the symptoms. That's just the ones I could come up with off the top of my head. If you can think of more symptoms, please write them down in the comment section. Help the audience out a little bit. What we're seeing is job loss. What we're seeing is breakup of the family, divorces, homelessness, issues with friends, financial issues, maybe legal issues, spiritual issues, physical issues. Physical issues are quite real, and emotional issues. So these are the consequences. And you know what? There's other consequences. It could be jail, it could be prison, it could be loss of freedom, okay? The biggest one is that loss of who you are. And a lot of people who have these symptoms, they start identifying, they start personalizing the symptoms. They don't see them as symptoms, they see them as, that's who I am. And when you start looking at that and you say, well, I can't hold a job, I'm homeless, the next thing you start thinking is, I must be a loser, I'm weak, I can't do this. You come up with this fixed mindset, and as long as you're in that fixed mindset of it's too hard to quit, I can't do this, what's going to happen each and every time is you're going to get on a pity party, and it's going to end with a relapse. This is a relapsing disease, okay? It is. There's stages of change, pre-contemplation, contemplation. We'll get into that in another video. But the last stage is relapse. I hate to say that, but it's relapse. I tell most of my clients, I do expect you to relapse, but it's not that bad of a deal. If you relapse and you stop immediately and you say, why did I do that? Then you have the ability to self-assess, put the right boundaries in place, and go like, I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm not going to do whatever the behaviors were that led to the relapse, or whatever the feelings were that led to the relapse, or the places you were located at that led to the relapse. I'm not going to go there anymore. I'm not going to be with those people anymore. I'm not going to do that anymore. You learned something. I don't consider that a full-blown relapse. I consider that a lapse in judgment. So maybe that's the difference between lapse and relapse, is how quickly you quit, how much you learned from it, and did you put the boundaries in place so it doesn't happen again? Folks, listen. We all make mistakes. Okay? We all make mistakes. The problem is we continue to make the same mistakes over and over and over. You need to learn from the mistake, learn the lesson, set the boundaries, never do it again, and then move on to the next mistake so that you can continue to grow. You need to develop a growth mindset. A growth mindset is the exact opposite of a fixed mindset. Growth mindset is, this is going to be hard, but I'm going to figure out a way to do it. Okay? Fixed mindset is, this is too hard, I give up. That's the difference. Fixed mindset would say, I'm not smart enough. Growth mindset, I'm going to figure this out. I got to figure it out. You know, I'm capable of learning, so I got to do it. So anyway, like I said, I'm going to show you some spec scans. And again, if you have a trouble saying that addiction is a disease, a brain disease, well, that's okay. Because I think after you see some of these spec scans, I'm getting ready to show you one right here of a person who is an alcoholic, who's been an alcoholic for drinking pretty heavily for 20 years. Okay. And then I'm going to show you an 18-year-old medical marijuana user who uses daily, who's been using for a few years. And then I'm going to show you a heroin addict, what their brain looks like, who's been using maybe about 7 years. And while you might not say it's a disease, first off, let's look at a healthy brain scan. We should have looked at the healthy brain scan first, but oh well, here's a healthy brain scan. What you're noticing here, or I hope you're noticing, is there is damage done by the substances. So if you don't want to call this a disease, I'm okay with that. If you choose to call this brain damage, I'm okay with that too, because that's what we're looking at. I don't tell my clients they have to quit. There's a reason why. There's actually two reasons why. Number one, they know they got to quit. Okay, they just don't know how. Number two, other people in their life that they love and care about. I'm a stranger. I'm a total freaking stranger to these folks when they walk through my door. They're going to tune me out if I say, well, you got to quit. Other people have told them that. It didn't work. It's a failed strategy. Why would I adopt a proven failed strategy that doesn't work? I don't. I simply ask them one question. Do you want to be successful in life? I've not had a client yet say, no, Bob, I think I'd just rather be a loser for the rest of my life. It's okay. You can get used to being homeless. It's only a few days in the summer that's unbearable. And, the wintertime, it's only cold at night. I don't get that. Yes, I want to be successful. Now, they have to determine and define what success is going to be for them in their life. That's it. You cannot be successful if you have a damaged thinker. You cannot be successful if your behaviors are grounded in the unconscious mind, things that you learned for survival when you were a kid that you brought into your adult life that are no longer working. What are those? Well, 2-year-old kid's going to throw a hissy fit if he wants to get a candy bar at the store. I want candy. Candy, candy, candy. I want candy, mommy. Mommy, 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 I want candy. Okay, fine. Okay. And then the mother says, no candy. Then the kid escalates. Now the kid's creating a scene. He's on the floor. He's having a hissy fit. 2-year-old kid, pounding the floor, yelling, screaming, crying, snot coming out of his nose, saying, I want candy. Mother grabs him by the neck and says, shut up and I'll give you the candy. Kid's all happy. He just manipulated his mother into getting the candy. He doesn't mind the pain. He doesn't mind the face. He doesn't mind the tone of voice. He doesn't mind anything because he got his way. That got filed away in his 2-year-old brain. As he grows up, well, a 13-year-old kid throwing that same kind of a hissy foot in a store is just going to look silly, right? On the ground, pounding the ground, snot coming out of the nose, all that stuff. That's going to look silly. So we become a little bit more sophisticated on how we manipulate. And then you bring that manipulation into adulthood, and now you're a 30-year-old man or woman, and you're still manipulating. It looks a little different, but still you're throwing the same version of a 2-year-old fit because you learned a long time ago that, hey, throwing a fit gets me what I want. Now you're 30 years old, and your fit may look like this. I want whatever it is I want, and if I don't get it, I love this one, I'm going to leave here and put a needle in my arm and I'm going to overdose. And they're expecting me to give in. And I'm going like, I'm sorry. Sorry you feel that way. Hope you stay. Who should we call after you overdose? Your mom? They're not going to manipulate me like they do their dad. They're not going to manipulate me like they do their brother or their mother or their loved ones. It's not going to happen, okay? Boundaries on my part so that I'm not manipulated. I had one person come in one time. I'm not even going to go into that right now. So we can talk about that in another video, manipulation. I think that's a good topic to do. So anyway, folks, if you can look at these the anger issues, the acting out, the poor decision making, the apathy, the moodiness. If you can look at all of these things as symptoms of the disease or symptoms of a damaged brain, it's going to be easier to love that loved one because you can see in the SPECT scans that we showed in this video that their thinker isn't right. I want to thank Dr. Daniel Amen for all of his work. He has 9 or 10 clinics throughout America. He is a pioneer in brainology. I don't know if that's a real term or not, but he's done so many SPECT scans. These were SPECT scans, S-P-E-C-T. So if you wanted to Google some and look at what these scans look like for yourself, just Google S-P-E-C-T. And that's going to come up, and then you can put healthy brain, alcoholic brain, heroin use, whatever, and it's going to show you a whole list of videos. Thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it. Have a great day.